All right, welcome to the Rank Fantasy Sports Bracket Pick Show. We're going to also do a little bit of talking about different players we're interested in DraftKings on the different slates. Um, Primarily the Thursday games for now. What we're going to do first is we've got three of us in here. I'm Ryan, we got Jordan and Riley in here too, and we're each going to make our pick, and we're going to fill out our bracket right here. If obviously all three of us choose the same team, then that's the team that's going through. If two of us decide on one team and the other one's on the other team, then the one with the two people on it is going to be our pick. So we're going to fill out a bracket like this. March Madness is one of our favorite times in sports. It's super fun to watch. So we're going to be stuck in front of some TVs tomorrow and for the next 2 weeks, just watching basketball and hoping that our teams win. So each different game, Jordan's going to go first, and then Riley's going to pick after him, and then I'll be the tiebreaker. So first game is Duke versus either North Carolina Central or North Dakota State. So Jordan, do you need to know who's going to win that North Carolina Central or North Dakota State game before you pick this first matchup?
No, I don't think Duke's going to be the Virginia of last year. I think they're going to win.
All
Be a
right.
true number one seed and be number 16.
All right, that's a bold pick. So Jordan's got Duke. Riley, who you got?
I will also be selecting Duke. I do not think they will lose.
All right, so easy one. We're going Duke. They're through. All right. The next game is the 8 versus 9 seed game. Always a tough one to pick. Always could go either way. This one is Virginia Commonwealth versus Central Florida, or VCU versus UCF. So Jordan, who you got?
I'm going with UCF. I'm going
All right.
I will be picking my first upset of the bracket and going with Central Florida.
Oh man, that's a big upset. I have Central Florida as well. So they're going through. And by the way, we also have power rankings that we're going to put up, and UCF is the higher team in those power rankings. So all three of us are in agreement with the data. So next game is the 5 seed Mississippi State versus the 12 seed Liberty. And Jordan, who you got in that one?
Mississippi State.
All right, Jordan's going Mississippi State, the Bulldogs.
Mississippi State.
Riley's got Mississippi State. I have Mississippi State as well. Just a big SEC team. I think it'll be tough for Liberty to play with them down low, and I think Mississippi State will outlast them. So next game is Virginia Tech, the 4 seed versus the 13 seed St. Louis. St. Louis probably was not in the tournament until they did win their conference, so their conference tournament championship, and so that's how they got in. So Jordan, who you got, Virginia Tech or St. Louis?
With Justin Robinson coming back, I got Virginia Tech.
All right.
Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech. All right, so I'm ready for the first game where we don't all agree with each other. All right, here's one that is kind of a popular upset pick. A lot of people are picking Belmont. They're playing the 6 seed Maryland. Jordan, who you got?
I've got Belmont.
Oh,
Riding
Jordan.
with the 12 over the 5.
This is an 11 versus a 6.
Oh, I mean 11 over the 6.
All right,
Okay.
Jordan's got the 11 seeds.
Yes.
I'm
11
going
over the
Maryland.
6.
Riley went Maryland, so I'm glad that I can do this. I'm picking Maryland as well. They had a really solid season. Great coach. Probably in what a lot of people are saying, the best conference. So, Belmont, they did look good last night, but I think a lot of that was also Temple wasn't knocking down shots. So I think they would need something like that to be able to pull the upset over Maryland, but I don't think that's going to happen. So 2 out of 3 of us picked Maryland. So Maryland's moving on. All right, the next one is another popular upset pick right now. Although I did see earlier that I guess the sharp bettors are liking that it's a popular upset pick, and a lot of money is going on LSU right now. So, Jordan, who you got?
I've got LSU. I don't think they're going to lose in the first round against Yale without the coach.
All right.
Give me LSU.
All right, same here. LSU, they're moving on. All right. Next game is Louisville and Minnesota. It's getting a lot of pub because obviously Rick Pitino's son coaches at Minnesota, and he's suing Louisville for millions of dollars right now after being fired by him. But, you know, hopefully it'll stay more about the game because those two teams deserve to be there, and it should be a fun matchup to watch. Though, so Jordan, Louisville or Minnesota?
I'm going Louisville.
All right, Jordan's got Louisville.
Louisville is going to hold strong.
I'm feeling the same thing. We got Louisville. All right. So this top region, this East region so far, we've got the higher seed going through on each game. So let's see if it's going to change right here. It is a pretty tough matchup. We got the 2 seed Michigan State versus the 15 seed Bradley, and I'm sorry, I am wrong. We did pick the 9 seed UCF to beat VCU, so we don't have the higher seed going through each round yet. So we're not relying on this Bradley upset over Michigan State, but let's see who everybody's picking. So Jordan, who you got?
I got Tom Izzo and Spartans.
Izzo.
Spartans.
All right, I'm going with the Spartans as well. All right. Do y'all want to stay up here in the East bracket? Or y'all want to go ahead and stay with the first round and move down to the West?
Let's move down the West.
Go
All right.
West.
All right. We're gonna stick with the first round. Um, the 1 seed Gonzaga versus Fairleigh Dickinson. Fairleigh Dickinson won their way in last night. Looked super impressive. So let's see if Jordan's got them upsetting Gonzaga.
I'm gonna go with the Zags.
All right. Who's zigging and zagging with the Zags?
Give me Hachimura. I think he's one of the best players in college basketball.
All right. I like that pick too. So Gonzaga. All right. The 8 seed Syracuse versus the 9 seed Baylor. Obviously, Syracuse has a great coach. They're known for that zone. The last year in the tournament, they were the thing about zone is a lot of times people think that you can just shoot threes on them, but lately that has not been the case against Syracuse. They're really good against the three. So Jordan, who you got?
Two big time zone teams, but I think Baylor finished off the season so bad. I think Syracuse is going to be.
Tyus Battle coming back. Syracuse, orange. Give me the orange.
All right, I'm with you there too. I like Syracuse. Let's get them moving on. Okay, this is, in my opinion, this one will be the most fun game to watch in the first round. You've got the 5 seed Marquette versus the 12 seed Murray State. Obviously, we know why that's going to be a fun game to watch. Probably 2 of the best scorers in the entire country facing off. So, Jordan, who you got?
Go with Murray State.
Ooh,
Go with the upset.
Racers.
Jay Morant.
All right, Jordan picks the Racers.
Murray State.
All right, Riley does too. I just so y'all know, I did have Marquette winning that game, but hey, they both are feeling Murray State, so let's do it. 2 out of 3 moves them on. Okay, Florida State is the 4 seed versus the 13 seed Vermont. Florida State had a really good ACC tournament, veteran team. So Jordan, who you got? The 4 seed Florida State, 13 seed Vermont.
I think Florida State's pretty hot.
All right, Florida State.
Florida State's going with that momentum after knocking down Virginia. Give me Florida State.
All right, I'm going with Florida State as well. 4 seed moving on. All right, this next game is the 6 seed Buffalo versus the winner of the playing game tonight, which is Arizona State and St. John's. For me, this game depends on who wins that as far as who I'm picking, but for now, let's just assume that whoever we think is going to win that game tonight is going to win. So, all right, Jordan, who you got?
I got Buffalo.
Jordan's got Buffalo.
I don't need to know the outcome of that game. I'm going Buffalo.
All right, I personally was going to go with St. John's if they win tonight, or Buffalo if Arizona State wins, but all right, we're going with Buffalo 2 out of 3. Okay, this next one, Texas Tech Red Raiders, the 3 seed versus the 14 seed Northern Kentucky. I believe they're the Nors, which I don't know what a Nor is, but if somebody wants to let us know that, then that would be awesome. All right, Jordan, who you got, the 3 seed Tech or 14 seed Northern Kentucky?
I'm going with the strong D and the hopefully hot shooting Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Okay.
Give me my alma mater, Texas Tech.
All right, Texas Tech. I'm picking them as well. They're moving on. All right, and then this next one, Nevada, they were a top 10, top 15 ranked team all season long. I believe they ended the season with 4 losses and have somehow become a 7 seed, and they're playing the 10 seed Florida. And Florida had a great run in the SEC tournament and have now become a very popular pick to win this game. So I think this is an interesting one. I think this is one where it's going to create a lot of red lines on a lot of brackets and a lot of green lines on a lot of brackets. So, Jordan, who you got? 7 seed Nevada or 10 seed Northern Florida? Or not Northern Florida, Florida.
I got the Florida Gators.
All right.
I'm going with the Gators.
All right. I personally had Nevada, but that's 3 in a row now that they've gone 2 they've picked them two have both picked the same team, and I've picked the other. But they're 2 out of 3 wins this game, so Florida will be moving on. The next one we've got the 2 seed Michigan versus the 15 seed Montana. Michigan, they're trying to repeat off of a Final Four appearance last year. You know, a lot of those guys from that team are back, so solid team. Jordan, who you got?
I got Michigan.
Give me the Wolverines.
All right, same here. 3 out of 3. Michigan's moving on. So that completes the West region. And then now we are going into the South first round games. The first game is the team that last year lost as a 1 seed for the first time ever in NCAA history to a 16 seed team. Jordan, do you think this can happen again against Gardner Webb?
I don't. I think they got humbled last year, and they're going to come out strong.
All right. Gardner Webb, man, they weren't too shabby on the power rankings. All right,
Give me Kyle Guy and the Cavaliers.
okay, same here. We're going with Virginia. They're going to rebound. Everything's going to be all good in the world this year with all the 1 seeds winning again. Well, I guess we have not picked the North Carolina's game yet, so who knows? Maybe we are going to pick a 16 seed to win. All right, the next game is at the 8 seed Ole Miss versus the 9 seed OU. OU was a team that was ranked in the top 25 going into Big 12 play. They were looked at pretty highly by everybody in the non-conference, and then really kind of got beat up in the Big 12, but still somehow got a 9 seed with a record pretty close to 500. So, Jordan, who you got, the 8 seed Ole Miss or the 9 seed OU?
Go Oklahoma. Go Sooners.
I'm gonna stay true to the Big 12. Give me the Sooners.
All right, I'm going with the Sooners as well. I actually think they're a lot better than a 9 seed. So, all right, next game. This is another big popular upset right now. I heard that it was approaching the largest bet on first round game in the history of the NCAA tournament. And personally, I'm not really sure why. I think this is kind of an obvious one, but the 5 seed Wisconsin versus the 12 seed Oregon.
I think Wisconsin's beat up, and Oregon's one of the hottest teams in the country. I'm going with the Ducks, baby.
I'm going Wisconsin.
All right, finally, I'm going to get to be a part of the winning side of a 2 out of 3. I'm going with Wisconsin as well. We've got them super high in our power rankings. They got one of the best players in the country. He's not beat up. I think they're going to win that game. All right, next one, the 4 seed Kansas State versus the 13 seed UC Irvine. The Anteaters, I believe, is UC Irvine's mascot, which is a cool mascot. So if you're filling out your bracket based off of the coolest mascots, then this is an easy pick for you. You need to have UC Irvine possibly winning the whole thing. So, but we're going to pick it based off of who we think's going to win, who's the best team. So, 4 seed K State, 13 seed UC Irvine. Who you got, Jordan?
Go Kansas State.
All right, K State,
Wildcats.
Wildcats. It's a big question on Dean Wade and his availability and how healthy he is. They're a really good defensive team whenever he's in the game and have not been recently without him. But I think even if he does not play in that round, they're going to take care of UC Irvine. So Kansas State. All right, this next battle's the defending champion 2 of the last 3 years, Villanova, the 6 seed, versus the 11 seed St. Mary's, who just beat Gonzaga in their conference championship game. So Jordan, 6 seed Villanova, 11 seed St. Mary's. Who you got?
Well, there's been a 11 seed beat a number 6 seed every year since 2005, but I think Villanova's not going to be that team. Villanova.
I know St. Mary's is running a hot streak, but Villanova, 2 of the last 3 years, winning the championship. Give me Nova.
All right, I like Villanova too. Great coach. I mean, I think this is a team that could really make a run if they start playing well. So we're gonna have them winning here, 6 seed Villanova. All right, and then the next game is the 3 seed Purdue versus the 14 seed Old Dominion. Purdue, really good team. Carson Edwards, one of the best players in the country. Who you got, Jordan?
I got Carson Edwards and the Boilermakers.
All right, Purdue.
Give me Purdue.
Purdue as well. 3 out of 3. Have them moving on. Okay, this next game, 7 seed Cincinnati versus the 10 seed Iowa. A lot of people were, saying that Cincinnati was ranked too low. They got too low of a seed. From our power rankings, that is not really bared out. But the committee did say that Cincinnati, they were looked at highly by the committee, and so that's why they put them playing in Columbus, which is just right down the road from, obviously, their school there in Ohio. So, Jordan, who you got? The 7
That's
seed?
Cincinnati.
All right, Cincinnati.
And I like these 10 seeds. Give me Iowa.
Okay. This is one for me that I really do think is you can throw it either way. I'm going to go with Cincinnati just kind of due to the home court advantage. So Cincinnati's moving on. Next game is the 2 seed Tennessee versus the 15 seed Colgate. Jordan, who you got?
I've got Tennessee.
Give me Rick Barnes, Tennessee.
All right, same here. We're going Tennessee. All right, so this is our last chance to see if it's going to be 2 years in a row for a 16 seed over the 1. We got the 1 seed North Carolina Tar Heels versus the 16 seed Iona. Iona makes a tournament like every year, so they got a little experience in the big dance. Jordan, who you got?
I've got the Tar Heels, baby.
I've got Cam Johnson in the Tar Heels. I think he's one of the best players in the country.
He can defend and score, and he's long and big, so that's a hard one to argue. But we're going with North Carolina, so we officially have no 16 seeds beating a 1 seed this year. All right, but if you think one of them will, I mean, you can probably get some pretty good odds on that. So next game is the 8 seed Utah State versus the 9 seed Washington. Utah State, they're a team that a lot of people are talking about right now. They seem to be looked at highly by everybody. Washington is kind of a team that is being looked down on right now. That's a lot due to people not thinking that the Pac-12 was any good. But in our kind of power rankings, we don't really see that. So, Jordan, who you got? The 8 seed Utah State, 9 seed Washington. Utah State.
I had Washington winning this game, but after reading your power rankings, I switched it up to Utah State. I think they're going to take care of business.
All right, I was going to go with a little bit of an upset right there just because a lot of people seem to be picking Utah State. I was going to pick Washington, but we're going to go with Utah State because both of you two picked it. And the next game is the 5 seed Auburn coming off the SEC championship victory where they just blew out Tennessee. A lot of people thought that if Tennessee won that game, they would have been a 1 seed. So I don't think that they were trying to play easy. I think they were trying to win that game, and Auburn just came out and handled them easily. They're a team that I was confused for a lot of the end of the season of why they were not ranked in the top 25 because they did not have very many losses. They played Duke well early. They're a team that went deep in the tournament last year, were ranked high last year. So for them to be a 5 seed after winning the SEC tournament is probably one of the worst seedings in my opinion. I think they should have been a 3 at least. So who you got, Jordan? The 5 seed Auburn or the 12 seed New Mexico State? Who New Mexico State is being talked about as a team that can really upset some people as well, and they are playing, I think, in Salt Lake City. So
Yeah, I think New Mexico State's a great basketball team. I think they kind of, I don't think they like the matchup. I definitely wouldn't like the matchup. I think Auburn's one of the hottest teams in the country. I think they're going to win.
I think Auburn's going to ride the wave of beating Tennessee in that championship. So give me Auburn.
all right, I got Auburn as well. Next game is the 4 seed Kansas versus the 13 seed Northeastern. Northeastern's. This is another game that a lot of people are picking the upset. A lot of people like Northeastern. A lot of people are down on Kansas. Losing LaGerald Vick and Azubuike. So, who you got, Jordan?
I've got Kansas right now.
Rock chalk.
Kendrick losses too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's still Kansas. I mean, it's not like they got a bunch of nobodies at the end of the bench. They got a lot of guys that would be starting for most of the teams in this tournament. So I'm with you. I'm going with the 4 seed Kansas. The next game is the 6 seed Iowa State coming off the Big 12 tournament win. Really a solid team playing the 11 seed Ohio State. Ohio State is definitely not a bad team either, and I think they're a little bit too low seeded at an 11. So this should be a really good game, a fun game to watch. Who you got?
I got Iowa State.
Cyclones.
Okay, I'm going with Iowa State as well. They're moving on. Okay, this next game, the 3 seed Houston versus the 14 seed Georgia State. Georgia State, I think they have 3 or 4 guys that shot over 40% from 3. So they're going to be chunking up some threes. They're falling. I mean, you got a chance if you're knocking down threes. So, but Houston, they had a great year, obviously, ranked as a 3 seed, even after losing Rob Gray last year, who was awesome. So, Jordan, who you got?
Yeah, Houston.
Houston only lost 3 games all year. I don't think they're getting their 4th one here.
I don't either. We're going Houston. Okay, and this is a very, very popular upset, not really upset pick, but maybe a smaller school pick. So, because Wofford is actually the 7 seed, which is a really high ranking for a mid-major team. They're playing the 10 seed Seton Hall coming out of the Big East. So Jordan, who you got?
I guess Seton Hall.
I'm going Wofford.
I'm going to go with Seton Hall as well. I initially picked Wofford, but I mean, if you look at the teams that they did play in their non-conference, I mean, it was not really that impressive. So I'm going to think that Seton Hall comes out there and they've got maybe a little bit more athleticism on the team and brings that one out. So next game is the 2 seed Kentucky versus the 15 seed Abilene Christian. ACU, that they haven't been in Division One very long. I think this is their 6th year in Division One, and to be in the tournament, I mean that's cool for them. So, but they are taking on a pretty tough team. So, what do you think? The 2 seed Kentucky or the 15 seed ACU?
I think it's great to see ACU in the tournament, but I think Kentucky's going to do a little bit too much.
I've actually got one of my buddies picking ACU to go to the Final Four, but I'm going to stay true to Tyler Hero and Kentucky.
All
Tyler
right.
Hero can score with the best of them.
All right, I'm with you. Kentucky's moving on. Okay, so that completes the first round. We're now in the round of 32. So this will be the games that go down on Saturday and Sunday. The first one will be Duke versus the 9 seed UCF. What do you think, Jordan? Can the 7'6" stop Zion or
I don't think he can. I don't think anybody can.
Taco Fall? I believe is his name.
Unless he breaks again, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's going to do it.
7'6" though. That's pretty crazy.
I still think with Zion's 45-inch vertical, he gets up higher than that guy. So give me Zion.
So hold on. This is a little side pick right here. Do you think, Jordan, that Zion will dunk directly over Taco Fall in this game?
I do.
You
I
do?
will take it.
All right.
I think he gets his own offensive rebound and then dunks it on him.
Okay.
Zion.
That would be cool to watch. So I'm going to just take the other side and say that Taco Fall blocks out of 10. So let's see what
I think
happens.
his shoe breaks.
All right. The next one is the 5 seed Mississippi State versus the 4 seed Virginia Tech. These 5-4 matchups are always fun to watch. So I believe we picked all of. I don't think we picked any 12 seeds yet. Or yeah, we did. We picked Murray State. So we're going to get to watch some good 5 seed versus 4 seed battles. These are usually, pretty solid teams from big conferences. So the first one is 5 Mississippi State versus 4 Virginia Tech.
I'm going to go with Virginia Tech. I like the ACC more than the SEC, and I think Virginia Tech can shoot it from 3 very well.
I'm also going to go Virginia Tech. They beat Duke this year. I know it was without Zion, but I definitely think the ACC is a lot stronger than the SEC.
All right. I'm going to go with Virginia Tech as well. I think getting Robinson back, I think Virginia Tech is a tough team, and if they weren't matched up right here with who they're about to play in the next round, I think they could really make a run in this tournament. But for this round, we're going Virginia Tech. The next one is the 6 seed Maryland versus the 3 seed LSU. This is one where I think a lot of brackets might actually have the 11 seed Belmont playing the 14 seed Yale, from what I've been hearing. But we took both the favorites in the first round. Jordan, who you going with, the Big Ten or the SEC?
Tigers.
LSU is a great team. I'm going LSU.
All right, I personally picked Maryland, but 2 out of 3 wins it, so we're going LSU. The next game is the 7 seed Louisville versus the 2 seed Michigan State. In my opinion, Louisville, it kind of stinks that they're ranked as a 7 seed because I think that's a team that could have really made a deep run in the tournament. And honestly, probably one fourth quarter comeback that happened against them kept them from being maybe even like a 4 or 5 seed. So they did get come back on by Duke in that game, and as a result, they are ranked down as a 7 seed. They have to play Michigan State. Michigan State is a little bit banged up right now. Jordan, who you got? 7 seed Louisville.
I do like Louisville, but I think Michigan State's going to be too much.
If Louisville had gotten the 6 or the 5 seed, I'd be picking Louisville, but the Spartans are strong.
Yeah, that's a tough second round matchup. I have Michigan State as well, but that is a team that I wish had been seeded a little bit differently because I think that is a team that could have made a good run. So, all right, Michigan State's moving on. Louisville's out. Next one is the first second round game of the West region. We have the 1 seed Gonzaga taking on the 8 seed Syracuse and Jim Boeheim. Jordan, who you got?
Gonzaga.
Like I said earlier, Hachimura, one of my favorite players in the country. Give me Gonzaga.
All right, I picked Gonzaga as well, although I did strongly consider picking Syracuse right there, but I went with Gonzaga in the end. All right, this next game is the 12 seed Murray State versus the 4 seed Florida State. John Morant, he's made it to this round in our picks. So, are you going with them again, Jordan? Is he gonna be able to take
I'm
down
riding
Florida
high
State?
with Morant, baby.
All
Murray
right,
State.
you
Let's
take
go.
Murray State.
Sweet
As
16.
much as I'd like to, I'm going Florida State.
I'm going Florida State too. I mean, it's just you don't see teams with that much experience and that depth in the front court. I think that's tough for a smaller school like Murray State to handle. So we have Florida State moving on. This next game is the 6 seed Buffalo versus the 3 seed Texas Tech Red Raiders. Buffalo, great season, obviously. Not a great conference. What do you think, Jordan?
I do think Buffalo's a good team, but I think Texas Tech and their defense is too much. Sweet 16 battle.
And this is a game of two teams that are highly known for their defense. So this could, if you don't love low scoring games, you might watch whatever other games on at this time. But we're thinking it's gonna be a fun one to watch.
I do not think this one will be low scoring. I think Jarrett Culver puts the team on his back, and Tech's going to blow him out.
Yeah, I'm with you, Texas Tech. If Culver's driving to the hole, that is a tough man to stop. So we're going Texas Tech. All right, this next game is the 10 seed Florida Gators versus the 2 seed Michigan. Florida will have just come off of a great SEC tournament run and a huge win against Nevada in these picks. So they would be riding really hot. Do you think they'd be hot enough at that point to take down Michigan?
No, I don't. I don't. Michigan, Sweet 16.
If I did have a 2 seed losing, this is the 2 seed I'd pick, but I do think they're going to take care of Florida.
All right, I had the same thing. Michigan moving on. Although if it was Nevada right there, I would strongly consider picking Nevada right there as well. But Michigan's moving on. Okay, the 1 seed Virginia versus the 9 seed OU in the South region. What do you think, Jordan? They got one step further than they did last year. They beat the 16 seed. Is a 9 too much for them, or are they going to take down OU?
I think Virginia is too good. They're too good.
I think Virginia will score at will. Give me Virginia.
Okay, I picked Virginia as well. Cavaliers moving on to the Sweet 16. All right, this next game, 5 seed Wisconsin versus the 4 seed Kansas State, should be another defensive battle. Probably not going to be tons and tons of scoring. Let's just assume that Dean Wade's back at this point. Jordan, who you got?
I'm going with Kansas State. Big 12, baby.
With Dean Wade back, I got the Big 12, Kansas State.
All right, I had Wisconsin winning this game, but we're gonna go with Kansas State.
Outvoted.
Outvoted. I'm getting outvoted left and right in this thing. All right, this next game was the 6 seed Villanova versus the 3 seed Purdue. Again, Villanova, they've won 2 of the last 3 years. Purdue's a very tough team. Who you got, Jordan?
Purdue, Carson Edwards. Carson Edwards is too much.
I'm with Purdue as well. I think they're one of the best teams in the country. I don't even think they should be a 3 seed.
On our power rankings, I mean, it does show that. I mean, and a lot of that is due to their strength of schedule, but they are a good team. Carson Edwards is an awesome player. He's been a little bit cold lately, but big players. I'm always going to think that big players come through in big spots. So let's go 3 seed Purdue. All right, next game is the 7 seed Cincinnati, who are essentially going to be playing a home game here, versus the 2 seed Tennessee Volunteers. What do you think? Does the home court advantage get it done for Cincy, or you like the Volunteers?
I like Tennessee.
All right.
Well, I had Cincinnati losing last round, but y'all outkicked me, so give me Tennessee.
I got Tennessee as well. Volunteers moving on. All right. Next game is the first round of 32 game in the Midwest region, which is going to be the 1 seed North Carolina Tar Heels versus the 8 seed Utah State. Utah State is looked at highly by a lot of people, but North Carolina is looked at a little bit higher. Who you got?
Tar Heels.
Tar Heels. Tar Heels. Tar Heels are moving on. Man, I just love watching that afro move that fast up and down the court. Like,
Oh yeah.
it would just be disappointing to see them lose early because it is fun to watch. All right, this next game is the 5 seed Auburn versus the 4 seed Kansas. In my opinion, this is going to be an awesome game. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Like we talked about earlier, Auburn's super hot. Kansas is cold, but they're still Kansas. Jordan, who you got?
I want to say Kansas, but I think Auburn is just too hot right now. I think they're going to take it.
Most of my brackets, I have Auburn winning, but I'm gonna go with the Jayhawks in this one.
All right, I'm going with with Auburn. Like I said earlier, that I think they are grossly underseeded here. This game should not be happening in the round of 32. Let's go, Auburn. This next one will be a fun one to watch as well. This is the 6 seed Iowa State versus the 3 seed Houston. Houston really wants to be in the Big 12. Iowa State is the Big 12 conference tournament winner. So, Houston, I think this is going to be a game that means something to them. Who you got, Jordan?
I got Iowa State.
Give me the Cyclones.
All right. Even though what I just said, we all picked Iowa State, so the Cyclones are moving on. Houston's going to stay little brother. So, next game is the 10 seed Seton Hall versus the 2 seed Kentucky. Who you got, Jordan?
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I'm with Kentucky as well. Wildcats moving on, Sweet 16. All right, that's the end of the round of 32 picks. So this next one will be the Sweet 16, which will happen next Thursday and Friday. First one would be the number 1 seed Duke playing the 4 seed Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech did beat them once this year. Jordan, who you got?
Duke.
I got my man Zion.
It's too easy.
It's hard to pick against Duke. I'm going Duke as well. This next game is the 3 seed LSU versus the 2 seed Michigan State. That's a matchup we don't get to see too often because a lot of times that 11 seed or a 6 seed will seed through. So here you got. It should be a close game when you look at the seeds. 3 seed LSU,
I
2
think
seed
LSU's
Michigan State.
great, but I think Michigan State's too much. I think they're legit.
I'm gonna have to go with the Spartans as well.
All right. I'm going to pick Sparty as well. So they're moving on. All right. This next matchup will be the Sweet 16 in the West. The 1 seed Gonzaga, the 4 seed Florida State. I think this is going to be a good game. What do you think, Jordan?
I think it's gonna be a good game. I think Gonzaga's gonna let Florida State know that they beat Duke as well back in the day. So in the Maui tournament, they're gonna win. Gonzaga.
I want my alma mater to knock off a 1 seed. So give me Gonzaga.
All right. I have Gonzaga as well, although that is one that in our predictions is within about a half a point. So you can kind of pick that one either way, but let's go with Gonzaga. I like Hachimura as well. So this next one would be the 3 seed Texas Tech versus the 2 seed Michigan. I mean, this is one where a lot of people are picking Texas Tech to go through, but again, the 2 seed Michigan is the higher seed. Jordan, what do you got?
Texas Tech, they're gonna be lights out from
Well, I honestly thought Tech should have beat out Duke for that 2 seed. So give me Tech.
Beat out Michigan?
Yes.
Duke's that 1 seed. All right. To me, this game is just going to depend on is Texas Tech making shots. That's the whole key to their team. When they're making shots, they are almost impossible to beat. When they're not making shots, they are very easy to beat. So I actually picked Michigan in this game. I think another issue with Tech is down low. They struggle a little bit on the boards, and Michigan does not. So, and another thing about this game is Texas Tech is one of the best teams in the country with steals and forcing turnovers. Michigan is one of the best teams in the country about not turning the ball over and not having steals against them. But we had 2 out of 3 pick the Red Raiders, so we're going with Texas Tech. All right, and then we got in the South region, Sweet 16, we got the 1 seed Virginia taking on the 4 seed Kansas State, Big 12 co-champions. Who you got?
I got Virginia.
I'm gonna have to stick with Virginia here.
All right, same here. We're all going Virginia. If it was Wisconsin, I actually had Wisconsin winning that game, kind of as my main upset. But if it was Kansas State, I'm going Virginia for sure. All right, and this next one, this is going to be an awesome game, probably one of the best games in the tournament to watch, in my opinion. 3 seed Purdue versus the 2 seed Tennessee. Jordan, who you got?
Carson Edwards and Purdue again. I think he's gonna be hot.
I'm gonna ride the Boilermakers as well.
Man, I was not expecting all 3 of us to pick the same thing right there. We all took Purdue, taking down the 2 seed Tennessee. And I don't think that's because any of us think Tennessee is a bad team. We just think Purdue is a good team that might have been a little bit too low seeded. So, all right, this next game is the 1 seed North Carolina taking on the 5 seed Auburn. Who you got, Jordan?
This is gonna be a huge test for UNC, but I think they're gonna pull it out.
This is one where I went back and forth in my own bracket between Auburn and North Carolina. Like I said earlier, I want to see the Afro moving at hyper speed up and down the court. So we're going with the 1 seed UNC.
You want to keep seeing that light blue suit, don't you?
I do like light blue suits. Those are cool. Yes,
Stylish.
they are. All right, so this next game, 6 seed Iowa State, 2 seed Kentucky. Iowa State Cyclones coming off Big 12 championship, conference tournament championship. Who you got, Jordan?
I think Iowa State's a tough team, but Calvin Perry and his freshman.
I'm with you, Jordan. I would like to say the Cyclones here, but I'm going Kentucky.
All right, I'm going Kentucky as well. They're moving to the Elite Eight. Okay, so the first Elite Eight game up in the East region, the 1 seed Duke versus the 2 seed Michigan State. A lot of people are freaking out because Michigan State got put in the same bracket as Duke, so they're having to face them in this game right here. A lot of people thought they should have been a 1 seed, beating Michigan 3 times, winning the Big Ten tournament, winning the Big Ten conference championship. We're going to see it here in the Elite Eight. Who you got?
I think it's going to be a great game, but like I said at the beginning, I think Zion's just too much. But
They beat Michigan 3 times, but I don't think they can beat Duke once.
All right, I don't either. Duke is moving on. All right. So down here in the West region, we have an Elite Eight battle between the 1 seed Gonzaga and the 3 seed Texas Tech Red Raiders. Who you got, Jordan?
Jared Culver, baby.
All right,
Let's
Texas
go.
Tech.
I am a little biased, but I'm going Red Raiders.
All right, I had Michigan going through out of this bracket. So if I had to pick between these two teams, I would pick Gonzaga, but they both took Tech. So we're moving on. Red Raiders. Okay, in this next game, we have the 1 seed Virginia taking on the 3 seed Purdue. Ron, who you got?
I'm going to go Purdue in this one. I want 2 3 seeds.
I like it. That's what I was going to do. I was going to say Purdue.
Yeah, that was crazy. Okay, I had Virginia winning, but so Virginia, they got through everybody. They're good enough to get through the 16s this year, the 9s, the 4s, but the 3s are where it ends. So Purdue is moving on. All right, man. This is one that's going to be awesome. If you do not watch this game, then you should definitely not be watching this video. The 1 seed North Carolina taking on the 2 seed Kentucky. Jordan, who you got?
It's a tough one. That's a tough one, but I'm going with Kentucky.
Oh,
I'm going with Cam Johnson. He's going to get it done for the Tar Heels.
I'm going with North Carolina as well. Man, they play at such fast speeds that you don't play against every day. I mean, that's something that's tough to just all of a sudden play against when you've coming off playing Seton Hall and Iowa State and then turn around and play UNC. So I'm going with North Carolina, although I do think Kentucky would be fun to watch in the Final Four as well. So this next one, we're all the way to the Final Four. The first matchup will be a rematch of, I think that happened in early December when Duke and Texas Tech played in New York. This time they're going to be playing up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Who you got, Jordan?
I want to say Texas Tech and Jared Culver, but I don't think they can do it. I think they can hang close like they did earlier in the season, but I think Duke's just going to end up being too much again. I think Duke Blue Devils championship.
Texas Tech won for 38 minutes of that first matchup, and Jack White was actually the one that got it done for Duke, but I think it's going to be a different guy that gets it done for Duke this time. Give me Duke.
I'm with you there as well. Duke is moving on to the championship game. Oh, that will have been an awesome tournament for Texas Tech. So, congratulations to them if that happens. And the other Final Four matchup, we've got the 3 seed Purdue versus the 1 seed North Carolina. Jordan, I know you had Kentucky there, so who you got if it's Purdue versus North Carolina?
I'm going to take Carson Edwards and Purdue, maybe.
All right.
Let's go.
I'm sticking with my man Cam Johnson and the Tar Heels, and plus I want to see a fourth matchup of UNC and Duke.
I am going to go with North Carolina as well, which will then create the first time we've ever seen the best rivalry in college basketball playing for a national championship. I think the first time they've ever played in the tournament in general.
I think so. Yeah.
But that'd be awesome to see that happen in the national championship game. You know, a lot of it depends on what team you're a fan of. A lot of the Duke fans say that North Carolina wouldn't have beat them twice this year if Zion had been healthy. A lot of North Carolina fans say that if they had just taken a little bit smarter shot in the last seconds, they would have beat them 3 times already now. So who you got, Jordan? Who wins the fourth one?
Duke.
Duke?
National champions are going to be the Blue Devils.
I'm in complete agreement. Duke is the national championship. This is a national champion in our bracket. But since we're doing this on ESPN, we got to pick a final score as well. Jordan, what do you think the score is going to be?
82-78.
82 to 78. Okay.
77.
All right, and I had 78 to 77. So what do y'all want to call it? Like 79 to 77?
Yeah, that's
Do
good.
it.
79 77? Okay. 79 77. Submit picks. All right, there we go. We got the confetti falling on Duke for the tournament challenge champions. So here for a quick second too, we're gonna go over some players on these teams. You know, we like to play DraftKings. That's our favorite thing about watching sports is fantasy sports. So we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about some players that we like on these teams. Um, let's just start with what do y'all pull up the Thursday games? What games played there? Or here, go to Magic predictions per turn. And I've got them sorted by date. So okay, the first game is going to be Minnesota in Louisville. You know, we talked about Louisville winning that game. That's who we all picked, and we actually have a little bit of a box score projection here. We've got Louisville predicted for about 154 DK points. Minnesota predicted for 147. This is a close game in our predictions, but it's not a super high scoring game. So, but we like games. We like games in DraftKings where they're close games, especially if you're looking at players that are starters. So, if you look at it like that, Louisville, the main guy we're liking for them is Jordan Nwora, and for Minnesota, the main guy we like on their team is Jordan Murphy. So, if you think that's going to be a good DK game, those are two names to look out for. And then the next one will be the 14 seed Yale and the 3 seed LSU. Let's see here. Jordan, who you liking on Yale?
On Yale, I'm liking Mia Oni as a guard.
Mia Oni.
Yeah, he can score and rebound.
All right.
Double-double
Riley,
like
who do you like on LSU, Riley?
I like Tremont Waters.
Tremont Waters. All right, so average 15 points a game, 6 assists. You know, that's kind of the thing that I always look for in basketball. You want a double-digit scorer, and you want somebody that is going to get at least over 5 assists or rebounds. And the thing about him is, God, he averaged three steals a game. That's good in DraftKings because a steal and a block, those are the two highest scoring things you can get other than a three-pointer. So that's a good one to look out for. And then the next game would be Auburn and New Mexico State. We've got that one predicted as, and I forgot to say, LSU is one of our higher scoring. They are one of our highest. Oh, here we go. I'll go to this. They're one of our higher scoring teams for this first round that we have predicted. And so this next game is Auburn and New Mexico State. Auburn. Who do you like? Who do you like on Auburn, Jordan?
Like Jared Harper.
All right, Jared Harper. So now what you're looking at here, this is just a list sorted by the most DraftKings points to the least DraftKings points of all the teams from our projections for the first round. So these teams at the top, we're thinking they're going to produce a lot of DK points. If you're just targeting teams or matchups in general, these are probably the teams to look out for. These teams at the top of the list. So, Rala, who do you like on New Mexico State?
If I had to pick one guy, I'd probably go Terrell Brown, but I will probably not be picking anybody from New Mexico State in my DraftKings.
Okay. This next one will be Vermont and Florida State. Florida State, they're our 8th highest projected DraftKings points team in the first round. Jordan, who do you like on them?
Florida State.
Yes.
Probably gonna go with
Terrence Mann.
Terrence Mann's
Who are you deciding between him and who else? Nobody? Okay. So we're going with Terrence Mann. All right. And this next one is going to be Bradley and Michigan State. We've got Michigan State predicted as we have Michigan State predicted as our Let's see. They're not too high predicted on there. Oh, yes. Sorry. Here they are. They're our second predicted highest scoring DraftKings team in the first round. Rilo, who do you like on Michigan State?
Give me Cassius Winston.
Cassius Winston is awesome. That's a
He's a
great
stud.
pick. He's one of the best players in the country. He's fun to
8
watch.
assists a game.
I like that one.
He's almost double points and assists, averaging.
This next first round battle will be between Belmont and Maryland. Maryland is our 11th highest predicted DraftKings team in this first round. Belmont is down around, let's see, they are, oh, I did not have them in here yet because I did this before that game happened last night. But Jordan, who do you like on Maryland?
Well, I was going to say first for Belmont, Dylan Windler is going to be the stud of the night. He did have a good game last night in the play-in, but he's a stud.
He's coming off of an injury, and I don't think they had him as a focus on their offense, but he is a good player, so I like that. Riley, who do you like on Maryland?
I'm going to go with Bruno Fernando. I mean, he's averaging 10.4 rebounds a game, and I like a guy that can rebound.
Cool. Okay, and then we got Northeastern and Kansas. Kansas is our 6th highest predicted DraftKings points team in the first round. So, Jordan, who you got? Who you like on them?
Kansas?
Yes.
Well, for sure, Dedrick Lawson.
Dedrick
He's
Lawson.
an absolute man.
That's a great pick. I like Dedrick Lawson as well. Riley for Northeastern, who a lot of people probably don't know anything about them or might not have seen too many games of theirs. Who's somebody that if you're thinking Northeastern is going to be able to make that a good game, who's somebody to look out for?
Vasa Pusica.
Vasa Pusica, and we're sorry if we mispronounced that. But, hey, I mean, 35 minutes a game out of 40, I mean, that's a lot of time out on the court. That's a lot of time to be able to make plays. Averages 18 points, averages 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.5 steals. So I like that as well. This next one is Murray State versus Marquette. I don't think we have to even ask y'all who you like in this game. But to me, even though we don't have it projected as the highest team totals, I think there's definitely some players on each team that would be good DraftKings plays. Who do you like on Murray State, Jordan?
Murray State, John Morant, baby.
John Morant.
He's going to get 50 plus.
Let's talk about this for just a second. We got to mention this. Okay, so here is John Morant's average stat line this year: 25 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists. As the first college basketball player ever to average a double-double with points and assists. So that's awesome. Yeah,
with almost 2 steals a game.
Yes, 2 steals a game as well. That is impressive. That's an awesome player. We're excited to watch him in this tournament. Excited to watch him in the NBA. Wish nothing but health to him. John Morant's a beast. Riley, who do you like on Marquette?
I think Marcus Howard will be their top DK guy, but I would roll with Sam Hauser because you can save yourself some money, and he's a great player as well, averaging 14.9 points a game and almost 10 rebounds at 7.
Yeah, and he knocks down threes too, I think. So, I mean, that's the thing that's also the good thing to look at with these teams that have a star scorer, because if defenses are collapsing on them, then the people that they kick it out to are usually open and can get off some good 3-point attempts. So I like that. I like that cause and a little bit less expensive DK play. So this next matchup is going to be Florida and Nevada. I mentioned earlier I had Nevada winning, so I think that they're going to probably score a little bit better than we have them predicted, but they're predicted as the 23rd highest DraftKings producing team. We have Florida predicted as the 12th highest, so not a super high scoring game. Jordan, who you like on Florida?
Florida doesn't have many, but I like Andrew Nembhard. But
Nembhard.
If you're looking for somebody that's cheap.
All right, so a little value play there on Florida from Jordan.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring.
There's a couple guys I like for Nevada, and that's Caleb Martin and Jordan Carolyn. They're both forwards, but I think I'm going to go with the cheaper guy, Caleb Martin here. I actually have him projected to score more points.
The problem with him, if you draft him on DraftKings, is that a lot of times his brother will score, who's his identical twin, and you'll get excited about thinking your guy just scored, and he didn't. So
they're both C. Martin. Both C. Martin, too.
Yeah, both their jerseys say C. Martin. It's confusing. So just don't get overly excited. Double check, have the play-by-play pulled up on your phone so you know that it was your Martin that scored. All right, this next game, ACU and Kentucky. Riley said he's got a friend that has ACU going to the Final Four, so if that's the case, I'm imagining a lot of their guys are going to be fairly priced on DraftKings. But honestly, I think this is going to be a blowout. So, Jordan, who do you like on Kentucky
If they are to go to the Final Four, Jaron Lewis is going to have to average about 45
for
real
ACU?
points a game and probably 80 DraftKings points. Yes, for ACU.
Okay, Riley, who do you like on Kentucky, Riley?
Now, I'm going to have to go with PJ Washington. He's their top scorer, and he's getting almost 8 rebounds a game.
And we know you like Tyler Hero as well.
I do.
And he's $1,100 less than PJ Washington in that first game. So if you're trying to save yourself some money, Tyler Hero is a good pick too. All right, so this next game is going to be St. Mary's and Villanova. Who are you liking on Villanova, Jordan? They're our 17th highest predicted first round DraftKings team. St. Mary's is our 24th ranked first round predicted DraftKings points team.
I don't think you can really go wrong with either one of them, but Phil Booth or Eric Pascal for Villanova, they're both priced within $200 of each other. So I think both of them are good plays.
All right, who do you like on the Gales?
I'm going with Jordan Ford. I like guys that can score, and he scores with the best.
All right, and then we got, ooh, baby, here we go. If you got, I'm imagining these guys are going to be inexpensive. If you like Fairleigh Dickinson, think they got a chance to make this game close, they are going to be very well priced. But I think they're going to get blown out. So, Jordan, who do you like on Gonzaga? We know Riley likes Hachimura. Give us somebody else.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a blowout. But besides Hachimura, I think Brandon Clark and Zach Norvell Jr. are both solid plays.
All right,
for sure.
Gonzaga is, by the way, our highest projected DraftKings points team in the first round. Now, if you think it's going to be a blowout, you might look for some guys that got some good minutes whenever they did blow teams out, because there is a chance that those starters might not play too much in the second half if it's a blowout, because they're going to want to keep those guys healthy. So that could be kind of a lineup differentiator. Find some guys that get good minutes whenever Gonzaga's blowing a team out. So unless you think it's going to be a close game. If you think it's going to be a close game, pick some guys from Fairleigh Dickinson because they're not going to be expensive. All right, and then this next one is Montana versus Michigan. Michigan is our 5th highest predicted first-round DraftKings points team. Jordan, who do you like on – I'm going to switch it up on you. Who do you like on Montana?
Ahmad Rory. If you're going to pick somebody from Montana, make it Ahmad.
Is he related to Rory McIlroy?
I wish, dude. He'd be on the PGA Tour.
All right, Riley, who do you like on Michigan?
I'm going to go Ignas Brazdeikis.
Ignas Brazdeikis. He's an interesting name. Michigan went to the Final Four last year, and their whole team is essentially the same other than Mo Wagner. And Brazdeikis essentially replaced him and had a great season, averaging 15 points, 5 rebounds. He can shoot the three a little bit too. So I like that play as well. And then for them, Jordan Poole's pretty inexpensive too if you wanted to save a little bit of money. Kind of a good minutes guy, going to be out there on the court a lot. Seton Hall versus Wofford. We have Wofford projected as our 18th highest DraftKings point team in the first round. Seton Hall as our 13th projected DraftKings point total in the first round. Jordan, who do you like on Wofford?
Wofford. Fletcher McGee from Wofford is a
Fletcher McGee
stud, but Cameron Jackson plays forward for them. He's the guy I'd be looking at about picking somebody from Wofford.
Okay, Riley, how about Seton Hall?
I might say stick away from him a little bit, but if I had to pick somebody, I'm going Miles Powell. He's a little bit more expensive, but he can score with the best of them, and I do like scorers, so that's the guy I would pick.
Yeah, Miles Powell. If they win that game, Miles Powell is going to have to. Yeah. I think he's going to put up pretty close to 30. So
he's got a big ceiling.
And we picked Miles. We picked Seton Hall to win that game. So I actually do like that pick a lot. He's one of the studs that's maybe a tier lower in pricing than a lot of the other studs. So that's a good one to look out for. And then the next game would be Old Dominion and Purdue. Old Dominion is our 27th highest projected DraftKings point team. Let's see, Purdue is our 7th highest projected DraftKings point team. Jordan, who do you like on Old Dominion? The Monarchs.
Ahmad Caver.
Ahmad Caver. Is that with a
And
K or a
BJ
C?
Stith. It's a C.
Oh, cool.
BJ Stith. Kind of looks like Smith, but it's Stith.
Hi. All right, Riley, who do you like on Purdue?
Well, we've been talking about this guy all day, and my man Jordan over here loves him. So give us Carson Edwards.
Carson Edwards, baby.
I love Carson Edwards.
Carson Edwards.
That's an awesome pick. You got him on your squad, you can feel pretty good that you have somebody that puts some points. The only thing about him that I would say for tomorrow is I think that Purdue's going to absolutely blow Old Dominion out. So it just kind of depends on how much time you think that he's going to get out there. A lot of people have actually not necessarily picked Old Dominion, but thought that could be a potential upset game. So if you are one of those people, then I would definitely say Carson Edwards, because if that's a close game, then he's going to be looking to score and looking to score all game. And I don't think Old Dominion's defense is that good. Too much of a test for him after playing in the Big Ten. So if you think Old Dominion will keep it close, play Carson Edwards. Next game is Baylor and Syracuse. Syracuse is our 16th highest projected first-round team. Baylor's our 15th. And I keep saying first-round team. Thursday team in the first round. So we're talking about the rankings within all the teams that are playing Thursday. So Baylor 15th, Syracuse 16th, so right there together. Who do you like on Baylor, Jordan?
I like Makai Mason, but
I love Makai Mason.
I think this game is going to be really low scoring. Both teams play zone, so I would stick away from this.
Avoiding this one.
Yeah, I would avoid the players.
Riley, who do you like on Syracuse?
I'm thinking Tyus Battle's coming back from injury. I think he's actually a little bit cheaper than he should be because of that. I'm definitely going Tyus Battle, and he's one of the best players in the ACC.
Now, I don't know if Buddy Boeheim will play at all if Tyus Battle is back, but he has been draining threes lately. So, and I imagine that he's inexpensive. I don't
He's
see.
cheap playing.
Yeah, so I mean, if you think that he'll get a little bit of playing time, that's a name to look out for too, because he has been hot. And I would say too, even though it might not be a high scoring game, I personally think this will be a close game. I think Baylor's a little kind of catching a little bit too much slack right now. They missed a lot of players down the Big 12 stretch run. Their team that beat Tech by 11 at home. That's a good team. So that's really, I believe, all that we have for Thursday's DraftKings slate and our college basketball picks. Jordan, you got anything you want to say in closing?
I don't. Happy watching March Madness all day tomorrow. Hopefully you win your bracket.
Riley, how about you?
Well, I do love March, and it gets crazy, and I'm very excited for tomorrow, and we're excited to do another show for you guys. We'll get our next slate of DraftKings guys out there to you. Just like our page and throw in a comment on there. Thank you.
All right, then what I was going to say is, the key to March Madness is knowing exactly how to watch it. And so I was just going to share with you guys my strategy on it is, luckily I do have two computers, so I'll have one game on one computer, one game on the other computer. I'll have my living room TV on one game and my room TV on another game. And so once the game goes to commercial in the living room, I'll take my two computers into my room and watch that other game, and then go back and forth and watch as many of these games as possible, because you do not want to miss anything in March Madness. Always, 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 if it's within a 10-point game in the last 5 minutes, I would definitely watch whatever game is at the end of the game, because crazy stuff goes down in March Madness. Buzzer beaters happen all the time, and that's why we love it, and that's all that we got. So everybody have a good rest of your night, and wake up tomorrow ready to watch some basketball. See you guys. Thank y'all.